Once again, busted out of the quarantine studios here for Foodwell Alliance at the Firdous Garden at the Mohammed School. Here with Fred Conrad, we're going to do a quick little tour of this incredible garden and talk a little bit about pollinators today. So I'm going to just turn the camera around real quick, give you guys an overview of this garden and this beautiful echinacea that I'm staring at. Check out this echinacea. Check out this hoop house. Really cool to see at a school and a community garden. Yeah. If I turn this camera at Fred, we lose connection. Oh, there we go. If Fred enters the frame, it seems to be working. All right. So this is Fred, our community garden manager here at Foodwell Alliance. Fred, we did a lot of community garden support this spring, getting gardens ready. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you were able to support here at the Firdous Garden?
Sure. This garden is a learning garden. It's an educational tool used by the school, and it's laid out so that, like most community gardens, it's very clear for the kids to see where their feet should be and where the vegetables are. But the layout, when you have framed planters and walkways between, you give up about half your garden space from food production to the utilitarian use of walkways and open space for teaching. So we're expanding the garden. The school is expanding the garden to the back soccer field where we're going to do a farm-style planting, 35 feet by 100 feet. A very large patch of farm-style planting that'll max out their food production.
Very cool. And that'll be straight in the ground, no raised beds, no pathways. So excited to see how that develops. So Fred, we had a question from our team member, Amy, who was curious about pollinators. Not sure she has enough pollinators in her garden. And as we pulled up here, Sister Terry was very happy to show us all of these beautiful pollinators dancing around these herbs and flowers. So I was wondering if you could just help us out, teach us a little bit about what's going on in some of these beds and why they help attract pollinators.
Okay. So this garden uses a combination of herb garden and flower garden to attract pollinators to their garden. So these are perennials or self-seeding annuals or biennials that just keep coming back. They leave the maximized oregano. They're letting the blooms go, and the blooms are attracting, you can see, honeybees, bumblebees. It looks like minor bees. There are some small wasps. And there's actually quite a variety. It's probably hard to catch on film, but there's quite a number of different pollinators coming to and from. So she's got the fennel in the back with the big flowers that are very beautiful for the garden, but they also, you can see there's a lot of bee activity on that, attracting them. So the technique here is to allow these garden plants that are used for food harvesting to also attract pollinators. And if we walk through the garden, you would be able to see that on the tomatoes, you're not going to see this much activity. You're not going to see these little multicolored, interesting little bees and bugs that are flying around, and wasps and bumblebees and honeybees that are flying around, because the truth is that pollinators actually are more attracted to and really like flowers better than they like vegetable flowers. So if you have a garden, the bees will find your eggplants and your tomatoes, but you increase your odds exponentially if you have other flowers, especially yellows and purples, to attract pollinators to the garden. And then while they're here, they'll visit the tomatoes and all that stuff. There's also some non-edibles over here. We'll get some Asclepiaceae, some butterfly weed. We've got yarrow. And in the back, it looks like some curly parsley that bloomed. And and then right behind you, there's some native plant, actually Vina bonariensis, that is blooming, and it doesn't seem to be drawing them like the other ones are. They also allowed a few onions to go to seed.
Some onions
So
going
they got
to
some
seed?
scapes here. from the onions. These are past. These are done. You can see that's not a seed. That's actually a miniature bulb that grew on that onion, and so they can self-replicate there. And then lastly, while we're in this section, though, I just want to point out the butterfly bush, Woodlea davidii. That plant is a terrific attractor, but in this case, you would actually have to deadhead the old flowers off to get it to continually bloom again and attract pollinators. So that plant will attract pollinators. It would attract more if we went through and deadheaded off the flowers. So that's kind of the pollinator action here. A lot of gardens also use annuals to attract pollinators, and that is a way that you don't have to give up so much of your space. You can see this entire bed is out of food production while it's being used as a pollinator garden. But if you plant annual flowers like marigold, zinnias, cosmos, sunflowers, things like that, it makes it easier to rotate them through, and they make a terrific crop rotation plant also. So if you have tomatoes and you don't want to plant anything in the tomato family in that same plot next year because you don't want to encourage soil pathogens, so you want to make sure there's no eggplant, no peppers, no tomatillas, no tomatoes in that plot next year. You want to plant something else. Annual flowers are a terrific crop rotation plant also.
Hey,
So-
good morning.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the Firdous Garden at Mohammed Schools in Atlanta. I'm Terri Ali.
Hi,
I'm
Terry.
the garden teacher as well as the farmer.
And I'm Kalila.
Hi, Kalila. Nice to meet y'all.
Yeah, we teach here at the school. I'm so glad you all are looking at the spice garden. I know it's not the most organized, but the bees don't mind.
That's right.
And if you notice, we have this herb laying down. It is, in cilantro, you get two herbs. You get the cilantro flower, but then it becomes coriander. So this is a learning garden. So a lot of times we leave things in place for it so people can kind of see how it's used. But what were you all doing? Tell us what you all guys were doing.
Well, we had some questions about pollinators, specifically from somebody who felt like they didn't plant enough pollinators. And we're sort of wondering if it was too late to plant some flowers or what they should do. And so we were just kind of talking about that you can let things like herbs and spices go to flower, and that they will help attract the pollinators, especially, what was it you said, yellow and purple?
Yellow,
So why is that?
But I wish I knew.
Stumped.
Yellow
1 point for James.
Just seem to draw.
Well, this is so good. So if you enjoy yourselves, we're going back to do more stuff. Anything else you all need from us, just holler.
All right, we will. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Yeah, it's interesting how they just look at in that fennel.
Yeah, they love the fennel.
Yeah,
Trying to get close, but not too close.
I know. And Fred, how many different species of pollinators do you think are up here?
I think we've seen at least a dozen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But no butterflies today.
Yeah, we haven't seen the butterfly. They'll be here though. They'll be out, and they'll be. As I was telling you, a little later, like around 4 o'clock, this gets really full. This is parsley that we can let it go to seed, don't we? Because we really just can't keep up with all.
Yeah.
And yarrow and onions and what else is? Oh, I know what else over here is bergamot, but I don't even know what it looks like anymore. Can you spot the bergamot? They put it over here from Captain Planet, and I don't know.
I don't see
It just kind of disappeared under some other stuff. But I don't bother this area very much. I leave it to them. Well, maybe might be it right here?
No, that's the butterfly
Oh, okay.
weed flower.
Oh, okay.
The butterfly bush over there.
Yes, and it looks. You see how it's struggling. It's struggling right now. Some of our students. So enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
You know,
We're
this
gonna
is a
take
narrow
peek
leaf
into the-
plantain. It was very active. This is the one that you chew and you put on a snake bite or
Oh, yeah.
a bee sting. You might want to experiment with that.
Yeah,
That's
this is a
something
very
most
common,
common.
people will call it a weed, but it's very common to find in yards and gardens around. So this is actually a very useful, is this considered an herb?
It's
Well,
it's just a medicinal
not
plant.
a culinary
This
herb.
one right here too is that's wild violet. So sometimes we don't clean up because we have an herbalist that's on our team, and when she comes over, she kind of identifies stuff to, at least advertise it.
And these plants, these little wayside plants, they wouldn't be considered noxious weeds because they're not the type of plant that would take over your garden and become a maintenance problem.
Okay.
I see.
Crabgrass or wild Bermuda will propagate itself so rapidly and spread so fast, even on top, it'll just lay itself down like a carpet. That would be considered a noxious weed. But these plants here are not. Also, the mint is another one that when that goes to bloom with those little purple flowers, that will also draw a large number of pollinators and a great variety.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh yeah, I love
You can take some
spearmint.
of that home with you and put in your yard too if you want to. Anything we have here,
Okay.
you always are welcome to. And if you have another garden you're working with,
You're very kind.
that's
On a hot day like this, it's nice to take a little bit of mint, put it in your mouth, and it'll keep you cool.
There. It's a beautiful plant. Have you ever seen borage? And we have an anise growing over there. Oh, y'all looked inside the greenhouse, right?
Yeah, we were gonna do a quick video tour. Look at this beautiful.
You don't need me for that, though, do you?
No, probably not.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
you're like,
It's carrots, beans, and tomatoes.
So this is a hoop house, greenhouse. You call it the
It's
wind tunnel.
because of this
We
is
got
only
this wind control.
a wind tunnel, and this has mercury in it, and these things adjust to the temperature.
Oh wow!
Isn't that interesting?
Oh, so it automatically
It's
adjusts.
automatically adjust when
Wow.
they're down, and
Very
then
cool.
as it gets hotter, they open more and more.
Huh. There you go.
Got a lot of work.
then you've got a high vent over there to let the heat out. This will draw in the cool. That'll let out the hot.
Oh,
And
okay.
then that's the orchard back there. We have peaches and apples and
And some-
blueberries.
yeah.
And we just put in a persimmon. We have watermelon growing. But yeah, anything you see, help us
Lots of
out.
carrots and tomatoes. Beans. Let's see if we can find some beans.
So here, this is
Oh, these are
also,
peas.
you know, an interesting combination of plants that are grown close together. So this would be an intercropping system where there's a lot of different kind of plants growing fairly close together. So they may or may not be beneficial to each other, companion plants, but they help diversify so that if there were any insect problems, it won't take out everything you have. If you did have a problem with the carrots, it wouldn't be anything that would affect the tomatoes. If you had something with the beans, it wouldn't affect the tomatoes. So you can plant things close together where if you had a big block of solid tomatoes here and you got tomato hornworms or something into it, it could devastate the whole crop. Where this is a nice use of space that allows you to mix and match a little bit.
Yes. Was this?
So this is also just another comment. So you used the word greenhouse earlier. So a greenhouse typically would have electricity and would have ventilation system built into it. So
Okay.
this is a passive. So most people would call this a tunnel, as you say. So a high tunnel, and this has got it's a great season extender. The plastic roof will heat up the soil in here earlier in the spring, so plants like tomatoes and squash will germinate earlier, grow faster. Also, in the fall, it gives you about another extra month on both ends of the growing season for outdoor use. And on some years, it allows you to go through the entire winter with salad greens and things like that would be knocked off by a frost, but the greenhouse effect warms up the inside so much that it wouldn't be damaged by frost.
Yeah. No, that's crucial, especially in a state like Georgia, but also especially a school where you've got kids during the winter, and you want to be able to show them what's going on. So we did get one question here, which is about where did this greenhouse come from? Was this the USDA grant?
Yeah.
So this was actually this greenhouse. I just made a mistake. He told me not to make it. So this tunnel was from USDA. They have a new urban agriculture department, and we're making offerings to some schools in the metro area, and this garden was the first one selected. So very innovative project over here with this high tunnel, and we're very excited to show you guys, show it off to you guys. So Fred, Do you have any final words, or should we go quickly take a look at the orchard?
Let's look at the orchard.
All right.
Quick, it's very nice, and it also establishes, you know, the longevity of the garden. Clearly, these trees have been here for quite some time, so you can tell this garden has been going and people have been working here for quite some time. There's some beautiful apples.
Here we go.
An apple tree.
Little apple tree. Another one. Bloop.
Likewise, there's some peaches.
Bloop.
Actually, the peaches are very heavy. The branches are really weighted down, and nobody can tell that from the video, but when you push up on it, there's a lot of weight on those peaches. This tree has also been pruned, like almost textbook perfect. The branches are going out and low to make it easy to harvest. It's very open and sunny in the middle. It allows light in, allows the fruit to ripen evenly so that all the fruit comes in at more or less the same time. This is a very healthy and well-maintained peach right here.
So these peaches look a little, I mean, obviously we're getting some peaches at the farmer's market already. These look like they got about a month to go, do you think?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Of course, if they were in the kids would miss them if they came in too early, so maybe they planted a late variety for the kids. It's possible. I don't know. They may not be that late. Also, you know, from my perspective, early peaches tend to be the clingstones, and the late peaches tend to be freestone. I personally like the freestones better, so I'm all with the late varieties.
There you go. All right. And then just closing out the orchard, we've got some blackberries, raspberries, and blueberries. Over here, snuck in a few blueberries on this side of the fence, as you can see. Got some blues here. All right, well, that will conclude the tour now. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate all the action in the comment section. Once again, shout out to Brittany, who's our biggest fan. And yeah, thank you. Big thanks to Sister Terri for showing us around and teaching us about the garden. Shout out to Nadira, because I got to meet your mom for the first time, which is cool. Fred, do you have any last words for the gardeners out there today?
Well, it's getting ready to be harvest season, so if you have more than you can eat yourself, it's a good time to share your bounty with people in need, and you can go to our website and find the donation button there and find a place where you can help somebody who needs that food.
Now, you heard it here. Produce is always good to share, and we're very grateful that we got to share some today. So thanks everyone again for tuning in. We'll catch you all next week, maybe at another garden, and we look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.